I have learned. I have learned in this last month with my students at the university. So I'm from Brazil. I'm a student and PhD student, and my advisor is Liliana Vasconcelos, and I'm a visiting scholar with co-advisor Professor Karl-Heinz Schuvoho. And I'm studying about the use of algorithms in the hiring process and its consequences. So GPT and the algorithms, that's something with my studies in my thesis. So a little about me. I'm working for long years in human research in Brazil and Colombia. And I live in Germany for 2 years now. And I wrote a book about my experience here. So now I'm a visiting scholar at the ZIN with Catherine. So today I will talk about a little brief about what is ChatGPT, how I use the chat and detection strategies, softwares to detection, next in the closing. So the introduction, ChatGPT is a chatbot. So is a pre-trained transformer that generate text. So it's a language model. How do you use this? So for me, I use it as proofreading. So I take some tests and ask for correction or grammar or verb conjugation. So they give me the answers. What's wrong, where I put the comma, punt, or wherever. Summarize the article. So I'm just writing my PhD dissertation, so I need to read a lot of articles. So I need to decide how is important or not. So I put some article, they made a summarizing. So I choose what I will read. Brainstorming for ideas for presentation. So this presentation you saw today is, I use it to ChatGPT to help me choose the best points. For qualitative test analysis, so my students use I have MBA students, so they made the interviews. So I use this ChatGPT to give me some insights that what categories or subcategories I can see over there. So I used to write code for RStudio. So if I need to do a quantitative analysis, ChatGPT helped me to get fast. So as a research professor, is a good tool that help you a lot and to approach all work, but you need the culture to remain vigilant because some of data inside the GPT is not accurate. We need to ensure this optimal utilization. How? So I bring it two tests here. I need you to decide what is human writing, what is AI generated text. The long or the short one? You can open the mic and say why, please. You see any difference?
I guess the short one, because it's sort of comprised, and the long one seems to me more like human, but I guess.
Well, I would say the other way around. The longer text is generated by ChatGPT, and the shorter one is by human, who is usually a lazy human and trying to not writing too much.
Okay. So I will say the answer in the end. How you detect AI generation text? So most of the time, AI generated use keywords and use excessive these keywords. So if you read the test, that the same word is repeating, is an AI generator. Why? Because human in general use pronouns, connectives, and the synonyms to not repeat this word. So the text have a structure. Always came with introduction, development, conclusion. Always. So when you are human, that in certain level, no, the education, you can change this order. You always came with, I don't know, if you write a dissertation, a text for a essay, you start with, I don't know, a film that's related to, or a book, or a philosophical phrase. But the AI generated can't create yet a very complex test that human can do in certain level of education. So the paragraph, in general, the paragraph came from AI generated is very short. Don't have coordinate or subordinate connectors. The short is simple and express the total idea. He always repeat this idea along the text. In the text that came with AI generation has in the end of the text a paragraph that summarizes the whole idea. So the structure is introduction, development, conclusion, and the a last one of summarizing the three before. All the indication as the style, no, for the writing, the language is not personal, it's not touching. In general, the definition or the expression of ideas is a little vague. They don't go deep. The response is always generic, and they don't have analysis. In general, human, when writing, they put meaning of the text, of the question, what they understand. So the AI generated text don't came with this meaning. So I bring it again. So AI generated as the long one, because you can see the keyword that the question for you, what's mean to be a professor nowadays? So a human contested to be professor nowadays to assume the responsibility of participating in the development of a countless pupil. He must be aware that education is for much the only chance that the student can have changed his future. Therefore, to be a professor, one must be willing to take on this responsibility. So you understand that it has a meaning in the palavra professor. Professor can be a change maker. When you read the other one, you can see the keywords professor show 3 times. And the text in the blue repeat. So professor involves cultivation and engage learning environment that encourages critical thinking. Then teaching methods and leverage technology. And again, continuous update the own knowledge, embrace new pedagogical approach. The meaning is the same. The professor needs new skills, need to be updated. So they repeated the same idea with another words. So the test is vague. Don't came with long constructions, don't came with meaning, has keywords, there's a beginning, a development, a ending, and more significant is don't express the feeling, because when you talk what's mean to be a professor nowadays is a subjective approach. you asking about the way more emotional, the way more social, the way of the impact, and the AI can't see that. So the tip is you need to realize what question you're asking. You need to analyze the text you are reading right now and see these characteristics, the same characteristics. So I bring to today 6 softwares for detections: AI classifier, GPT-0, originality AI, Coplix, Zero GPT e AI right check. I like the second one is the green in the last one. Why? Because both of them use these characters. So they have 2 measures to analyze or detect these AI generated texts. So average perplexity score and boostness score. And perplexity is to predict the next word. So AI generate text always, when you write a message to WhatsApp, the cell phone always suggests you down some word that you can use. It's the same to AI generate text. They can predict the next word. So when you put it in this detector, they can say, they give you a score, how the probability for the text can be right for a machine or a human. And the boostness score evaluates the variation, the sentence length. So if you are very short, it's AI. If you are long, has connective, has coordinated or subordinated phrases, is human. So additional info, there is now a software that use you to change. You can generate the text in GPT and use this app to transform in humanize the text. They call undetectable AI. So if you try now, if you have the apps to detect the text, now the students have the app to undetect AI content. You can put the option to become the text more readable, balanced, or more human. You can decide. You can decide a formal writing, for general writing, for essay, for university, for email, wherever. And you can choose what AI detector you want, no? You wanted to use it to validate the text. So Deja already has GPT-0, OpenAI, Writer, Crossplay, Coplix, Sailing, Content Scale, Zero GPT. So what all, as a professor and researcher, need to be? What's next? So I think you need to change our teaching strategy, because today has multiple tools that can help it determine if it was written by a machine or a human, but ChatGPT and the other technology involve developing rapidly. So if you just depend of these detectors, is already forgotten, because there is a new one that it can change, or they change, now they write for human, more human, humanize the text. So I think you need to become more AI tolerate. I think the students and professors need to develop AI literacy, so that can use for development skills and use as a tool to learning. So today I help my students to using ChatGPT to help them to correct the essay. So you can use APA, you can use another rules for the university, and ChatGPT give you tips to change what part, how you do citation for the author, how can you write the reference. So I use it to help students and to help me as a professor in research. So I think in the future, you need to think how ask for homework, how you ask about activities inside the class, outside the classes, using the AI, because it's the future. You can change. It's already inside of society. This is used day by day. So it's important to become aligned. So that's all. Thank you.